Amazing. I'm going to start the recording. Role playing game, Lorena, prologue, backstory. Yeah, started the recording to. Oh, I don't know if it's recording. Lorena, prologue,
As it's recording.
backstory. Time. Here we go. Where do the elves come from? So, we're going to have just fun, kind of silly role playing game and have fun, do some silly stuff. So hopefully you do and you enjoy it. So, as you know, this is going to be the backstory to your character. It's going to be essentially the first thing that happens in the campaign. So, but yes, you know of your character. Really, this is after the last campaign where you went into the strange goblin cave and you now just slept in Ironhaven. Really, what happens is all this comes rushing back to you in a dream, essentially, in your sleep. So these are essentially your memories of the past. First thing that you remember, a dark warmth, and then perhaps being birthed into a strange land of gold and green. You lay beside a twisted, large tree in the center of a glen oasis, large mountains around like the fingers of some unknown power closing in around you. You are really just an infant in this glimpse of a memory. Do you have any Lorena baby thoughts to offer us, though? An elf, you're going to have somewhat well-formed consciousness, even at the youngest of age. So,
And my first thought was, it's colder now.
wait, what?
It's colder now.
Ah, yes, you don't remember much about your earliest years, but you remember learning to read and write, prayers and holy texts in the Church of the Sixth Word. Several of your peers and colleagues are with you that you also remember, and you remember also learning to harness the power of flame magic inherent within you. So if you would like, we're probably just going to play with your magic abilities on your character sheet I gave you. You can flip that over if you haven't. All your stuff's really kind of whited out except for your magic, your flame
Oh, yeah.
ability. And so we're going to describe that. But really, if you want to briefly describe your character, you're extremely young, actually. Like, I don't know, you could think like 10 years old. But keep in mind, you're going to be in this setting, you're going to be in like a desert of gold, which is fairly cold. You can see your own breath. You're very young, like I said. You're actually going to play with a friendly animal out here just for this brief little encounter. Yeah, do you want to describe or anything about you?
I like to keep to myself, and I'm quiet, and that's probably why I like the animal. And I don't know what else to share right now.
That's fine. Your video is like glitching out, but that's perfectly great. There's not so much going on right now, so that's awesome. Basically, this animal I'm imagining out here in this desert of cold gold is like this very skinny, long, like black lizard. It's also kind of a baby. It's a young Komodo. It's got like green speckles around its body and mostly around its green neck. And you guys are kind of playing. It is also able to kind of exude a burst of fire breath. So you guys are kind of practicing, kind of playing around and practicing your fire breath together as babies. One of your first memories. So if you would like, you want to describe what you're doing. Basically, I'll say the kimono dragon, playfully tackles you. And you guys are kind of playing. It's a baby. You don't get hurt. But now you have the chance to kind of retaliate playfully. If you want to try to bend fire, you can, or do something else. Describe it, and I'll have you probably make a roll for your D20.
I'm gonna do a slap of fire at him.
Okay.
We tackle roll, and I'm snacking him with fire so I can get kind of a
Nice.
distance because I don't really want to play that rough with him up close. He is kind of scary.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Here, actually, do me a favor. Go ahead and leave the Skype chat and just come back because your video is messed up. I don't know if hopefully that'll fix it. I'm going to start this recording again. Okay, I forgot to start the recording there for a second. Sorry about that. But basically all that happened was Lorena rolled. You got a 10 on a strength check. He tried to do a fire slap at the kimono dragon, which was successful. Doesn't deal damage, but you know, you kind of rolled around. He actually rolled really well. You couldn't dodge him, and he tackled you. You guys rolled down a sand hill. There were like some flecks going up in the air of gold as you guys rolled around. But then you were just trying another attack, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I was warning you that difficulty challenge is going to get harder here as you're just kind of mastering your fiery abilities.
So am I just trying to like figure out a technique for me, or like I don't really know?
Honestly, we're just role playing your backstory is the main goal here. If that answers your question.
Yeah. I'm gonna use my fire to try to melt some of the sand into glass, just to show him that
Yeah, I like it. You're a very ingenious elf, I'll say. But yeah, go ahead and roll your. I'll have you do. It's kind of like a will, straight up will. So add that modifier. Your intelligence, as it were. Probably your only good.
Wow.
Is that accurate?
Okay, so it's a 16. With it already added, I have +3.
Oh, you definitely passed this rating. So you can describe as you wish with the glass what you do.
I make eye contact with the little lizard guy, and I just stick my hand out and aim it like slightly towards him, so it's in front of him, and fire, and I melt it just into a sheet of glass.
So you're making a sheet of glass like in front of him.
Yeah, out of the sand.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'll say, you know, like you cast this like larger flame in your hand and kind of scatter it perfectly where you want, and the golden sand kind of bubbles, melts into this kind of hot red sheet of like molten glass that cools. Komodo kind of stops his charge. I'll say, you know, he like stumbles to one side and kind of trips around the edge of it, but he doesn't like fall into it or anything. It cools down though, actually, and now it's there. It's kind of like a sheet actually, and you're like on one end and he's on the other end now. There's this sheet of glass between you, but he kind of tripped over and he's getting back up. So actually, you can go ahead and do kind of another kind of playful attack here if you want, or you know, do whatever you want.
I'm actually just gonna take my foot and stomp onto the glass so it cracks all across.
Okay, yeah, I'll have you make a strength.
Natural 1, -2.
It hurts your foot. It's like, ouch! You didn't realize things hurt.
You know how kids be.
That's something that can happen. One of
I'm
your first
actually
thoughts.
gonna look and get annoyed about it.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that was a theme because you like rolled a nat 20 on your first attack or something. And I was like, oh yes, you're mastering your fire elements already. Yeah, it's one of your first thoughts. And then, sorry, what were you saying?
I'm annoyed that it didn't work.
Yeah, so just annoyed. Well, the Komodo dragon, you know, he's going to start slipping and sliding across it as it tries to run towards you. And he's going to, again, tackle you. And again, you guys kind of roll in this playful kind of, you know, kind of wrestling You slide down the hill. There's more gold flakes that get up all in your clothes and everything. That's pretty much the end of the scene. So yeah, I will say the other memories you have of kind of your younger years. I'll say between these scenes, there's quite a few years that go by, but most of your years are spent here at kind of this, it's like this church, this nunnery essentially. So yeah, the region is a bit of a green haven within a desert. There's this, golden hills, of course, that stretch out to the west in every direction, except for the north. There's these large mountains, and you do have a map that I've given you just for reference there. The small one is what you're looking at now. Rasden is the name of this garden oasis where there's this temple to the word, the sixth word, and you grow up learning about it as an acolyte. So, you do have, I'll go ahead and wear this dark wig here, be this lady.
Wait, fix it.
Don't like it?
And your blonde hairs are in the front.
What's that?
And you have a lot of your blonde hair sticking out the front.
Sorry. How is it now?
Better.
It's amazing. I know
Oh.
So you do have this nun teacher, the lady Palotres. She's this tall, wise, slender lady who kind of talks down to everybody. She looks down at you, and she always seems very uptight. But she teaches you of the sixth word doctrine. And there's, lots of students about who are also listening to her lecture. Anything you are probably doing at a young age here, maybe, you're still in like 10 or so.
I like to study. I take notes because I'm quiet. I don't really care about the other kids. I more care about learning.
Of course. That makes sense to me. So you're a decent student at a young age. And you just listen. She tells you many lectures about the word. This is in the words of the old religion, which are stark and full of beauty, but also great horror. A long time ago, when our ancient fathers built the earth, it was known as the year of the trees. The years of the trees, long centuries. Trees grew to rule over the world. Every inch of ocean and land is covered in a lush green life that gives birth to the first fae of the old world. They are born. Yes.
Were you there?
What's that?
Were you there for that?
I was not there. Said my father's father walked in these ages, thousands of centuries ago. I'm not quite that old yet. But I can tell you much of history and the war, should you learn from me in the future. Anyway, the Fae, as I was saying, were born of these pristine olives. They were the great Grugert trees, which in the later ages are known as the Elder Woods. 'Tis the most ancient being alive, besides the first beautiful Fae folk who still are said to live to this day. The Grugert tree gave birth to Gabrielus the Wise. These are the Fae of old, Errigoldian the fierce, Varian Delion the brave, and Tashara the noble. The one who would grow to become the first Dark Lord was also born of the tree, and its name was Garrisoni the Forgotten, for he was abandoned by the other children of the wood. For the rest grew together as radiant Fae, and shared and provided. The other Fae was born from the tree, many others from the Elderwood in time, but most were corrupted by the Dark Lord, and turned into great beasts such as giant demons and king devils, tormenting the great continent of trees to shatter it and dismiss the land. The Dark Lord corrupts the holy children and creates men. He also corrupts spirits further to form different tormented creatures in this world. He is known as the Dark Lord of the darkest flame, held the power to ensnare and control the minds of elves and men, use them for his ends, corrupted certain elves into that new fallen race called man, which still walk the earth today, along with the demons he created, before the Dark Lord was eventually defeated, mind you children, by the great Fae of the First Age, the New Era. Year 0 after the Lord. The current year is 1205. Since the Dark Lord was defeated and peace returned to these elven lands, let me know if you have any questions about these deep, ancient writings.
Are you part of the good team or the bad team?
Of course, I am an elf. We really are, for the most part, in tune with the word and nature. But you can realize, of course, that even the Dark Lord was once one of the first Fae children. But the men which you've created are tormented towards evil ways, so they are more likely to fall towards evil, which any being can succumb to, of course. But we always strive to do what's right, of course, right? Right, Lorena? Normally you can trust it. Men live short lives and are greedy. But many are decent folk as well. Any other questions you have?
Can everybody use fire?
No, you are special. Although most elves are able to harness some form of the essence of the word to cast magic. Not all can cast fire. Some may cast other spells or have other abilities that are unseen.
Do I have other abilities that are unseen?
No, I think you're perfectly normal. Peaceful little elven child. You know, humans typically not be able to cast fire like you. Show the class you have masterfully gathered your fire at such an early age. If you want to demonstrate your fire, you can. I'll have you roll, I guess, just like an intelligence.
Okay. I'm just gonna do this and hold small flame and then close my hand.
Yeah, it kind of lights up.
It's a 19 plus
Amazing.
3.
You do perfect. You know, if anything, the flame's a little bit bigger and brighter than maybe you intended. But, you know, it lights up around you. Not an issue or anything. The class of students is like, ah. There is one girl next to you, you know, Lillian. It's like, oh my goodness, how did you do that? But yeah, I mean, you know, everyone's impressed with you at a young age. These are some of your earliest thoughts. But yeah, that's basically the end of that scene. So really, again, you can imagine here, probably 5 years. Going to be passing between scenes here. We briefly just kind of glance over your life. So yeah, in this next scene, you know, out in the fields, there are shepherds, and you know, you guys always in church say prayers. You live kind of a devout nun's life, and devote yourself to the word at the Grand Temple of Rasden, of course. But there are endless flat plains and distant shadows of mountains. The air is clear and bright and cold. There's often snow, but on the far side of the mountain to the north, it is said the blistering lands of ice await. But here at the lands, the endless pastures, and sweet scents of flowers, and just like various things fill the air. You're often sent to worship and pray at a pilgrimage about once a year, really, which is difficult and a memorable hike. And you learn many survival skills at these young ages. You're trained by the other women, nuns. You do have a companion, actually, this student, Liliane, who you met briefly. She's young and timid, but kindly. And, she looks similar to the headmistress, as really do you and most of the students here. Kind of just pale elves with lighter hair, kind of like your appearances change sometimes, kind of mystical folk. You might have a certain glow about you.
I'm special. I have red hair because of my fire right now.
Yeah, red hair at a young age, and the later ones it becomes like white. That makes sense. But yeah, this companion Liliane is always nice. If anything, she's overly nice. She's like, oh, let's go on this long trek again. We can do it, Lorena. But yeah, you trek to the mountain. You see a statue of an ancient fae. You guys bring offerings, burn incense. If there's anything you'd like to do during this time. Okay.
I'd like to bury a stone at the foot of the statue.
Are you burying that stone, Lorena?
Head down and come help me. It's important.
It's the soul of an ancient fairy.
And maybe once you get closer, you can feel the spirit of what this truly means.
I'll try my best. I feel like it is really important. She'll help you dig. And you guys can definitely bury your stone. Anything else you're going to do or say there?
I'm gonna put my hand on top of where the stone would be as soon as it's buried and just quietly look down for a minute.
And kind of seeing this, your teacher, the Paluitress, will come over and say to you, Lorna, would you like to say a prayer for us to the ancient fae? Everyone, meditate with Lorna.
And I'm gonna take a twig and light it on fire till it's just smoking, and then I'm just gonna sit like this with the smoke and keep it going with my fire powers. It's just like a quiet meditative prayer.
Teacher will also mutter a few words, and really, not too much happens, but you guys do go on these treks quite often. So you go many times. If there's anything else you would like to add, feel free.
No.
Great. Okay, we'll go ahead and skip here again to another scene. So yeah, like one summer day, the desert sands are hot. You're playing alone actually in some daisy fields and sunflower fields. You do see the distant mountains that shelter the valley, and a warm wind blows from the south. It's very quiet in the fields. They seem to stretch on far in every direction. So yeah, you've managed to get out here on your own on this occasion, out in the fields, in the flowers. Anything you want to do?
I'm gonna pick some of the flowers and put them into a little bouquet and just take it with me. And I'm also gonna eat one of them because I can. The daisy.
It doesn't taste good.
It's healthy.
And I'll have you make a Constitution saving throw. Or just a Constitution check, rather.
Okay, it's 10.
Okay, yeah, you're good. It doesn't taste good.
Healthy.
Hopefully it did you good. Plum greens, flour bits, and but yeah, you do see off in the distant hills. There's some shepherds in the mists. The shadow of the temple seems behind you, right along with the mountain. Nevertheless, here you do see a river stream that you had not noticed before, and it rages on the far end of the lands. There are gazelles and desert cats dart away as you kind of walk through the thickets and the sparse hills. Yeah, you want to go check out this river?
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely go. There's like a dry fog on the edge of the temple lands. So yeah, it actually begins to lightly rain, drizzle, and you have to start to get a little bit wet and cold. Um, if you want, you can like cast a little fire to hold.
Definitely.
You can make an like, intelligence check, I guess.
It's 21.
That's just a great fire. That's what you need. It actually keeps you pretty dry. Kind of like evaporates the rain as it approaches. It's pretty warm. And then yeah, you see like there's a bridge in the reeds, and the rain gets a little bit heavier, but you start to hear a crying, as if from a baby boy.
I'm gonna try to sneak towards that. So I'm actually probably have to put my fire out for a second and sneak up.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and do like a stealth check. Easily able to snuff your fire.
What do I add to it? Nothing?
A stealth is going to be dexterity based. So just do
Okay.
your dex.
I rolled 18 and I have +2. Sneak.
18. For now, you're going to be level
So
0.
it's
So
20.
it's just, oh, you have +2. I see what you're saying. So yeah, totally correct. You are definitely able to sneak amazingly well. No one's going to see you if anybody's here. You definitely hear. This, baby kind of continues just wailing. As you approach, you see like this wet wicker basket and blanket floating in the water and shrubs. And there's this baby that just seems to be abandoned in this basket.
Do I see any? Like, what kind of baby is it?
Well, as you investigate, it's definitely like a human baby. It has the ears of a human. It's a very small, loud, annoying thing. And wrapped in like a little blanket inside this basket. And if you want, you can make a perception check.
Oh,
You kind
yeah.
of just glance around the lands as well.
Okay, it's a 19 plus nothing, right?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Well, that's great. You're going to succeed regardless. There's nothing to see though. As you're looking around, there's no one nearby. The lands are totally vacant. You're quite a ways from like the nunnery, the church, temple of the sixth ward, as it were, and there's no sight of anyone. You imagine if floated down the river for some time. Um, there was like a shepherd up there, but we doubt that he had this. Yeah, maybe he did. You don't know, but you can't see anybody now. Anything you want to do?
Is the basket and the baby small enough that I could like lift it or no?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you're older than 10 now, so you could imagine maybe you're like 15, 13.
Okay, I'll pick it up and I'll take it back to the daisy field, I guess. That's when I'm nearby, right?
Yeah. As you kind of make your way with this basket, your companion, Liliane, approaches, and I'll try to throw these ears on. She runs near you and kind of is amazed. What have you got there? You had a baby. How's this possible?
I found a baby.
This is amazing. The word
It's a human.
answered a prayer. Come, return to the temple with us. We'll show
Oh.
everyone there.
Okay, help me carry it.
Is it a boy or a girl? What are you going to name him?
Boy. His name is Charles.
Charles. I like the name. Oliver James. That's the end of that scene. But
it was my baby.
You're allowed. You choose Charles. I'll make a note of this. This is ever an important plot point. Charles, any other name?
Maybe on the records of the church he's Oliver James, but if you know him, he's Charles.
Okay, I may know. It's definitely important. So the only thing the head mistress does recommend you for venturing out alone. You cannot go out alone.
And I felt a spiritual calling to go there at this time. Think if I had it and you're going to punish me for following the spiritual promptings.
One day you'll know what's best for you. But there's another scene, another day. On this day, you also managed to escape out on your own. I assume you have no problem with that. You actually do happen to meet that shepherd, or some shepherd who was out in a field. He's a human child. You're both around 15 now, or a little older, actually. His name is Michael. He's taller than you, but he's a stout young boy, brown head, curious face, a bit of dirt, always on his nose. But he's very interested to meet you and talk. And he says, would you like to greet my sheep here, my lady?
Would I like to teach your sheep?
Greet my sheep here. He has like a flock of sheep with him. He's got like a cane. He's like a shepherd.
Sure. You got a bit of dirt just there.
Well, thank you. Are you from the nunnery? Acolyte?
True.
What is your life like?
I've never greeted a sheep before. That's what it's like.
Life. Well, can't blame sheep for not going near a temple.
Are they not religious?
My pa says there's a good religion in the woods and the farm.
What do you study?
Nothing against what? I just study sowing the fields, raising the crops, and walking the sheep.
Manual labor, because you're a man.
I am a man, and you are an elf, and we can be friends.
I study fire, and I make a little flame.
Whoa! He's definitely startled, kind of like falls back onto one of his sheep. How did you do that?
Special.
Fire. Can't study with my own hands. Got no fire. Do you like to play a game?
Sure.
Herding the sheep. Shapes.
I don't know how.
Let me help you. Go up on top of that hill, and when I tell you to call out, you do.
What do I call
the
out?
sheep will come to you. Just like, hey, come here.
Okay.
All right, you stand over there. Push you over here. He's gonna run over to like this nearby kind of sand dune, as it were. There's like some grass about, trees, but you want to roll? I guess like just a kind of a performance check, kind of like.
One.
Roll d20. You rolled a natural 1. If you want to describe how you kind of fail to call out. No, not like that. All the sheep just like, some of them like will fall over and like start to sleep. It's like, what have you done to poor Bessie? You killed her. Why? That's a great. Off into the distance, actually, as you see the shepherd kind of crying, he thinks you've made his sick sheep, his sheep sick. Off in the hills, though, to kind of east behind some distant reflecting lake, you see this massive like silhouette of this giant that has red hair. Kind of you see rising up above the lake in the mountains. And that's a very shocking image to you, but that's all you remember of that day. So again, time passes actually. So you'll be like 20. You're getting older. You're not actually, as an elf, you're not actually like matured yet. You're like halfway there as an elf. So you're still kind of, you would say, yes, almost 15 maybe, say, in human terms. But you always get reprimanded by your elfin teacher. Can't wander the lands alone. You can't wander the lands alone there. You terrible child. Anything you want to do as you're just attending classes primarily here?
Are you the teacher again, or are you my friend Lillian? Or whatever.
They'll both be here. Either one.
I'm gonna pass a note to Lillian that says hag.
What does it say?
This teacher is a hag.
A hag?
Yeah.
A hag? It's not good. Ah, yes. Even Lillian is like, I'm offended by this. You can't say that. Oh, teacher.
I didn't say it. I wrote it.
You better burn the note. Burn it up.
Maybe you should.
You, Lorena, please take the note back at least. She'll can't be seen with this. Really, you're trying to do something bad.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes. How can I help you,
She's disrupting me.
What is this? Let me see. Are you gonna try to like throw the note at her?
Yeah. So that Lillian, I have to begin.
Dexterity with that one.
It's a 17 plus 2.
Also, that's a success. I'll have you do another check here. Do a deception check. You're trying to see. But you're probably going to succeed.
Do I add anything to it?
So yes, if you see your deception stat, it's going to be listed next to one of your abilities.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, then it's a 10, because I have -1, I rolled an 11.
Fair enough. You actually succeed, and she's like, "What is this? Passing notes, Lillian." She reads it, and she's like, "Oh, goodness. Lillian, you're coming with me." And they go out into the hallway, and you can't hear what they're saying out there. But your teacher comes back, and Lillian does not come back that day.
She doesn't come back.
Back that day. But there nevertheless are very important lessons to learn for any good students. She eyes you like who would like to learn. Do nothing disruptive. You will learn again about history. Before the modern age, it is said the Dark Lord reigned for thousands of centuries, and he enslaved elves, the highest and purest form of life, corrupted the souls of elves to create men, as you know. The year zero was founded after the Lord fell. The great dark demons still rule these lands, though the elves conquered them in time. The elves also segregated the kingdoms. The high elves are the best and most noble, and the dwarves and humans are removed. Yes.
Am I a high elf?
We are what you might consider a woodland elf. Although she kind of leans close to you, Lorena, and she's like, we may have some high elf blood in us. It is hard to say. Some of these distinctions are somewhat arbitrary. But I am not a professor of lineage, nevertheless, nor am I too familiar with the actual politics of the distant elven lands. Here in the Ore Union, a new society has been formed. We're almost 400 years old. We are a neutral territory, away from the High Elves' reign. So in general, we are not High Elves. But this is merely history. This is 1200 years ago. In year zero, I was not alive, but it is told that the elves segregated the kingdoms and removed all the lesser races. Dwarves populate in other lands and are dealt with later. But an age of peace is ushered after the Dark Lord is defeated. Besides the wars the elves rage against the demons, it is a time of celebration. After 200 years, the humans build grand cities throughout the land, and they also fight against the demons in their own way. In the years 500, the elves of Errigold turn their war towards the other races, having purified most of the demons from the lands. They destroy goblins and humans, and, the corrupted elves, like pixies and sprites and demons. And these races are pushed back nearly to extinction. You hear a loud bonk, bonk, bonk knocking at the door at this time, and everyone's a little bit surprised actually, but see the headmistress go out into the hallway, Palantress, and they're talking to someone. You hear, anything you want to do during this time?
Can I hear what they're saying at all?
I can make you I'll let you make a kind of a stealth check, I guess, as it were, or a perception check. Either way,
it's 15.
that's pretty good. So yeah, you just hear kind of Palatress, the familiar voice, saying like, "I wasn't expecting you today, but of course, come in. Archpriestess, come right this way, Norlis." And you hear the door open, and you're kind of standing there. So if you want to do a dexterity roll to try to run back to your seat, actually, real quick, you can.
No, I'm just gonna do a stretch and then walk back casually.
She'll kind of like pat you on the head, knock you on the head, say, "Back to your seats, children, hurry." Let me introduce you all to the Archpriestess of the entire church. She will be dropping in from time to time to take notes and just observe us. So just act like the good children I know you all can be. And this is Norlis of the Fatelands. She is our Archpriestess. Show your respects to her. And all the students kind of bow. She's this radiant elf in this blue robe. She's got kind of lightest skin. She resembles you guys, but she seems more like what you might consider a high elf, more generally just like pale and like kind of angry looking. She's got a tall forehead. She's got dark makeup and squinty eyes, glowing jewelry, and long robes, as I said. She's got an angry, sort of high-pitched voice. She says, "Don't mind me, I'll just be sitting here in the back. Go back to your lessons." And, she just kind of pulls up a chair, maybe the empty chair beside you where your companion used to sit. But she's gone now and kind of startles you. She kind of locks eyes with you for a moment. Just have a glare. But, she doesn't mind you too much. Anything else you're going to do right now?
Just sitting up extra tall.
The head mistress continues with her lesson. We continue with history then. In the year 801 AL, the grand cities of men, known as the once great lands, were destroyed. Ruins are left across large sections of the continent. Thousands upon thousands of men are killed by the magic. Old fey folk forsake the elves, and magic begins to fade. Men are defeated largely across the continent and retreat back into the last kingdom of men's now cursed territory, where the elves cannot reach them so easily. They are protected by a desert to the west. The last kingdom of men has become isolated. Anyway, in the year 802, the lake town of Elves is built upon the Great Lake and the ruins of the abandoned human settlement. This eventually becomes known as the Iron Union, the Iron Haven, and the Ore Union's great capital to the south. But yes, these rogue elves, the wood elves, as it were, partner with the other races in a quest to overthrow the Errigoldian Empire and become their own nation. They begin a silent coup. As I said, we are neutral territory, and really we, the Iron Union, that is, the Ore Union, preside by our great wealth and the great work ethic of all our citizens. Throughout, we produce great from endless mines. But yes, the war between Errigold and men continues for years and years, and has been mostly contained. This really ends the important lessons about the Ore Union Foundation for today. Were there any questions any of the students had that I can answer now? Very good, thank you. Trust you've taken excellent notes. Yes, no, I'm sorry, Jacqueline, it's the Ore Union, thank you. The Iron Haven is a capital city. There are other capital cities with other kings, an elven king There's even a dwarven king. But I digress. Let us then be off for today. Go with the word. How was that? Yeah, like telling the archpriestess, she's like, I hope I did okay. But yeah, that's basically the end of that scene. It's been snowing for a couple days. Some time passes. There's powder and ice thick upon the grounds. Yet you venture out, of course, whenever you can, seeking an opportunity to stretch your legs and adventure on your own, away from the wicked ladies of the church. And you fret not over the cold, the nearest mountain to the north, the river to the east, the endless fields stretch out everywhere else. Now, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? In your map, if you refer to
I want to go through the old wood.
it. Ooh, the old wood. Which direction is that?
What?
Wait, which direction is that? North is like, the top of the ridge. So that's to the left. Very good. Oh, actually, give me but a moment. I need a charger for my phone. It is done. Thank you. All right. All right, you head off kind of to the west into the woods. Well, there's actually a great many sand dunes before you can manage to get there, but you head off that direction. Really, though, what does happen as you kind of approach the woods, you see some farmers, some shepherds with a flock of sheep. It's actually the shepherd you met before, the young boy. He also has two very young boys following him as well. So you guys are a couple of years older, and
Is he like the same age as me though, or he's a human, so now he's like 25 and I'm 20 still, or he's like 30 and I'm 20? How does it work?
so I'm gonna say you're both still basically in your adolescence. You're both like teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only been like a year. So, but that's as far as you look. You look the same. It's maybe been a few more years than just one. But yeah, you see them approaching. So you remember this boy with the long brown hair. It's a bit longer now. Anything you'd want to do as you kind of see them?
I'm gonna go ask if I can walk through the desert with them so that I'm more protected as I head towards the woods. Are they going through?
Yes, definitely. So they say, great to see you there. We can venture together. We're actually going to another wood. We're headed home. Come venture with us. We'll definitely see the woods. We're going to what we call the twig.
And we're in the desert of gold right now?
Mm-hmm. And just kind of as they're there, you notice his two younger brothers. You imagine there's like they're both younger than him. One of them's got short blonde hair. One of them's got like short brown hair. And the oldest one, Michael, has kind of a long brown hair. He's a teenager. It's your age, basically, your size. The others are babies.
Okay. I'll go
And he
with
says,
them, even though
please, yeah, walk with us. Where were you headed anyway?
I was gonna go to the old wood, but twig is good.
Yes, should be good. So yeah, you start to walk off east towards the twig wood. Essentially, there's a cold chill in the air as they lead that way. It does tell you that his my good man father has built us a wooden nest in the shivering forest here. They've called the twig. There is a large bird, great turkeys to be had, ducks and geese you might see flocking about. Uh, we have a dog. You can see him. He's droopy. And as you kind of approach, it does take a long walk. So if there's anything you want to do, feel free.
I think I need to take a break for a minute. Call.
Yeah, it's about break time, so sounds good.
What do I do?
What do you do? Here I will.
Like
What? I'll
to
pause the
like
recording.
call.
All right, ready to resume this recording. And we last left off. You just walking off. What's that?
We're walking.
Yeah, you're walking with the shepherd boy and his brothers. He was telling you about his house, and you guys do, after a long day of walking, eventually arrive at his house.
Oh.
There is a dog with droopy cheeks. You guys enter the forest. There's not very many trees. It's called the twig because it is a small little wood at the edge of. There's this great lake up to the north of where you guys are at. But this dog greets you. It does have droopy cheeks and watches over the modest ramshackling house. And as the boy remarked, had recently been snowed in. They were stuck for a week inside. Luckily, they were able to survive thanks to Pet Weasel, who brings nuts through a small hole in the roof. So that's what the younger brother actually tells you. He's like, pretty cool, huh?
I'm like,
Michael's like, what is he gonna do? But yeah, the yellow moon is actually glowing above the lake, so it's reflecting through the river. And one of the boys also remarks that the river does freeze up a lot, get frozen, which is makes him in a terrible mood. So I don't know if you mind helping him. He's like, hey, help me out, make the river not get frozen.
sure.
It's like nobody else about the house. So you can try to cast your fire.
Yeah, I'm gonna just try to melt 2 holes so they can either ice fish or at least get fresh water close by.
Yeah, go ahead and make an intelligence check for your spell.
It's an 18.
Amazing. And for this, as you're level 0, you're kind of mastering your spells. You're just using kind of silly rules, but obviously in the adventure, you gain typical control of your spells. But for now, you're doing amazing this way. So yeah, you're able to melt large sections of this river. Really, if you want, you're able to melt some holes as well in other segments. Anything you want to describe about that?
It gets really warm from all the steam, so it starts melting the snow off the trees too and making a lot of icicles.
And the younger boys are like, oh, we're going swimming today in the little hot springs. And they're get into their swimming suits or whatever. They get into the river where you've heated it. And Michael's like, how are you doing that? You've become so powerful with the flames.
Thank you. I just want to help you out.
Michael kind of walks around. He runs over to check out the river and kind of runs back up to where you're at. He trips over a gourd that's kind of growing in the garden. He falls and spills blood. Actually, he gets cut.
Wow.
The thread scarf he was wearing falls on the ground. And, the blood stain looks like strawberries. He runs away. What do you want to do?
think I'm gonna follow him. The
You know,
trail of blood.
Yeah, you definitely follow that trail of blood. Make a survival check. Which I think is
20.
a natural 20. You're definitely able to
I'm
find
good.
it. He's crying. You do go past like the Ostella Sea, as it were, which is this large lake, kind of largest lake you've ever seen. Up to the north, he's up kind of by it. It's kind of nighttime now. Like I said, the yellow moon. Yeah, what do you want to do? The lake is frozen. It's like crystalline looking water, mostly calm.
And he's
Reflecting.
just crying.
He's crying. He's like sobbing by the side of the reflecting yellow river or the sea, really.
I'm just gonna go stand by him. And I'm gonna start making little igloo blocks out of the snow. Just building it around him.
So make a perception check real quick. And the boy, Michael, will kind of lean on your leg a little bit and kind of stop sobbing. What do you roll?
13.
So you do notice that this sea, as it's called, in front of you, which doesn't go on forever by any means, it is, having been somewhat astute in geology class, you think it rather is like a lake and several rivers, but it brings some kind of odd, ironic warmth or luck to those who look upon it. You feel makes you feel some certain like power as well. But yeah, you guys, there are some birds that come about and sing a song to you. It's like a desert lark or sand goose or like a meadow lark. So I don't know, but really, all that happens is you're gonna fly away home because it's the end of this scene. So there might be a hummingbird just in your memories. So trying to remember it all. But really, that's going to be the ending of what would probably be called your younger years. So in the next memories, you're actually like 30. So you're essentially an adult now, a young adult. You're not really considered as mentally mature as a full grown up for another 10 years. But definitely look like an adult. But one day, you're just in the school at the nunnery still, learning much about the word and just praying, trying to be devout, as it were. Anything you want to do, I guess, during these years of note that you may mention?
I get officially baptized into the nunnery because I'm an adult.
Yes, they baptize you in fire. And
What?
it burns at your skin, but it feels also.
Oh, that's a little too close to home right now for me.
And there is a priest, an elf who comes. They say some chants. Oh, I shall. Now be reborn. The elfin life. Iravatharu! A new child comes to you. But yes, you do learn much about these times, increasing your learnings. And it's fantastic. But honestly, many years later, again, for this time when you ventured off, you slept with these farming people because it was night and you needed to meditate. You weren't home for a day. In any case, it's about a day's journey there and a day's journey back. So you get in trouble. Again, always you're punished for doing what you're doing. But really, over the years, this punishment does escalate. They chop off your ear, as it were.
That's a little harsh.
But there are some similar incidents, and what really does happen is your punishment kind of escalates for not staying in the nunnery grounds and for not being really viewed as proper, good. Straying from the lands repeatedly is your main offense, as it were. There are some other suspicions that arise there forth. You go with this horribly rude archpriestess some years back, who comes in from time to time. She takes you on a long journey, a carriage ride to a distant land. You go to Iron Haven with that evil lady, and all the other head masters and nuns force you to go with her. You say, misbehaved, you're unfit to serve. So yes, you're making a bad impression for the other girls. You could not stay in Rasden. You're doing a more disciplined routine from now on. Yes. Any thoughts about this? Any reactions you have?
No reaction whatsoever, for it brings me much faith to know that these tribulations have come my way, regardless of my wants or needs. I must suffer through.
Okay, good. She speaks. Please have mercy on her. We must take her now. You have not done good for her, child. We will teach her the true ways of the word and how to be proper. So, you do go on this long journey. And in Iron Haven, as I said, you're about 30 now. Years do pass, but you hear very different culture. The rag music, jazz. There's much construction and building over the years in the Iron City and expanding. There is, always the mistress to serve the archpriestess. You start to perform very strange to you dark rituals. Eventually, the powerful dark archpriestess calls you into her inner chambers one day, and she asks you if you are willing to serve her and the church in any ends that we see fit. You have been disciplined enough over these years, right?
The word is the way, and I accept.
She will kind of like lay her hands on your head, and she's going to actually perform a spell. Although you're not super knowledgeable, you can go ahead and roll like a will saving throw.
14.
Yeah, so you're pretty smart. You're not smart enough to, stop the archpriestess. Ultimately, she kind of interrogates you with her eyes, searching your mind. You can feel her burning words and speaking to you, but you cannot look away. She says she will command you to, do their bidding, to work for her or him. Find someone and bring them to the dark ritual bed below the sixth temple, which you reside at now. So you actually have to go into town on this compelled quest. And you have to find an innocent soul, bring them back with you. So you really can go like any way. There's construction throughout the city, but the door you go out, you see the north gate up to kind of just some small houses that are outside on any direction from the city. You could go out and find a peasant, you think, or search elsewhere. But you know you have to find someone. What will you do?
What's the closest house that I see? Or farm?
So, going out, there's definitely houses under construction. There's like some towers, and I mean, there's obviously the Sixth Church, which you know you're not supposed to choose like an acolyte or a priest.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go outside the wall is your intention here. The first house you see, there's only like two or three really on the side of the wall. So you can just go into the first one you see. You don't know the names of these peasants. Um, but inside, if you just open the door to this small farmstead, you don't notice anyone inside at first. Um, and there's not really but one extra room, and there's no one inside there either. The house is empty.
Okay. Do I see anybody out and about, like in the yard or nearby?
Make a perception check.
12.
So yeah, you do see actually one farmer somewhat close to the house, and several more off in the distance, but far enough away that they'd be out of earshot of the other farmer. So you definitely want to coax him to come with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go talk
What will you say?
to him. Listen. I will say they're giving out double rations at the place. Wait,
What's that? What's that, girl? Huh? What'd you say to me?
There's double rations. If you'll come with me, they're handing them out,
Double rations. Oh,
including lard.
that sounds really nice. I've got to work in the field. I can come with you there. Make a persuasion check.
A 9.
Oh, a 9. Well, let's see how smart this guy is. He's not very smart. So, he says like, that does sound nice. My name's the Ardenos, by the way. The Ardenos to meet you. I'm pleased. Where are you leading me? He's got like a daze in his eye. Kind of talks a little bit of nonsense. He's like, pretty day. Night, isn't it?
Yes, it truly is. Just right this way then. Exactly what you need. Follow me.
It's like, wow, I'm really hungry. Just can't stop thinking about that extra lard. Take me the way, then.
Okay, right this way.
Yeah, you are easily able to lead him back through the gate. Actually, go ahead and make kind of like a stealth check, just to avoid any suspicion. From like town's guards and stuff. You have a vague concern for this, although you're not sure why.
Well, it's a 21. So.
Ugh.
Your hat.
He's like, oh, don't let me get my hat. Yeah, I'm drunk from the sun. I've been farming.
I grab his hat and put it on for him.
It's been a long 100 years I've been a farmer here in the old lake town. I get it. It's bringing me the lot.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, you can easily lead him back up into this to the temple, Sixth Church of the Word, which is a magnificent building, beside the grand white castle of the king. And there's like some towers off to the side, but the city's always under construction right now. You coax him back in there. You go down below into the secret tunnels, into this ritual bed, and anything you want to describe, he probably has a little bit of resistance. He's like, oh, where are we going now? Downstairs. You got a secret party down here.
This is where we keep all the extra rations to keep them extra secure. Would you really expect us to keep this just in a common area?
That does make sense to me. Well, okay. And you guys, head down, and for some reason, in your mind, this is a ritual to resurrect some stagnant soul that was a great lord of Eldarian, the lands, the continent you reside in. You're not sure how you know these thoughts. There's brought a bone, strange sundial watch, it would seem. And you set down this elven man, this farmer from the northern village, on the ritual bed as well. He says, "Hey, there's the food then." And you kind of take your place in line with some of your comrades, some elves with their similar hoods, and one of them eventually completes this dark ritual, sacrificing the elf and filling this pool of blood created by your comrades. You were brought here into these dark caverns below the temple. You gaze into the pool and you see a world of darkness, fires burning on the tops of mountains and hillsides, men and elves forced to work like cattle on a farm, tools and tormented by torture devices. And the gods who rise to take your place are beautiful, mysterious, and golden. And you see through their eyes, the world is a small orb. You could dance about and see the three kingdom of elves, men, and the Ore Union of elves and men, and dwarves working minds in chains, as the twisted eye of a red gemstone glows to illuminate the scene. The devil becomes you, flying around the continent to spread a curse of pestilence and fear into the hearts of men and elves, to rule the lands with beauty and peace, without the stain of death, pure black love of a god, not unlike yourself. You should make a will save for mighty.
14.
You retch from the pool of blood and gold and ivory cauldron where the skull of a lamb and the bones of man have been laid and scattered. You kind of scatter them about as you kind of come to kind of breathing from this vision, from this submersion of this bloody cauldron, as it seems. Your memory, even now, seems unreliable. But you have this eerie vision, this evil vision. For the first time, you think, what are you guys doing? What have you done here? And what are you turning yourself into? So at this ritual area, make another will save. You'll have advantage if you want here.
It's a 6.
So you have advantage, so roll again.
It's an 11.
Nice. So yeah, you win. And maybe later, in the hallways upstairs or somewhere, you kind of begin to break out of this spell you're under. Somehow, for a moment, you can do whatever you want. You kind of bump into somebody out of like stumbliness, and they kind of trip over you guys. If you want to make a dexterity check, actually, see if you fall over or not.
4.
So you fall over, and actually, this person that you bumped into kind of goes over to help you. It's a human, actually, but he's one of the priests, it seems, as well. At your rank, he's kind of a middle ranked, it would seem. They'll wear this similar robes. He's kind of helps you up. He's got a brownish red hair. He's a youngish human. He says, "Are you okay? I'm sorry. And he helps you up.
I don't think I'm okay.
Were you downstairs with the rest of us? Something strange has happened with me as well. I don't like whatever it is. And honestly, that was really disgusting. But I just saw it in your eyes. I thought maybe, I don't know. What do you think?
I think we need to get away from here.
I'm not sure it'll be that easy. The head wizard, the arch wizard, and the archpriestess, they have this spell in our minds. We have to find some way to break it completely. I think this has happened before. It doesn't last forever. Eventually, you'll be serving her again without control.
There has to be some way to undo it. If we can get away, it'll at least buy us time to see how we can undo this.
I think it's a good idea. We could try. We could also try to meet again. I can often break it in the evenings like this for a couple of hours. If we were to meet up around that time, maybe we could plot something or figure out a way to escape.
It's glitching.
Oh, am I still glitchy?
Should I leave and come back?
Yeah, let me try something. Is this any better?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, they have a spell over us, but for a couple of hours in the evening around this time, I think it's easier for me to break free. We could plan to meet up again, maybe plot a better escape, if anything.
Yes. And please try to teach me how to get that clarity myself.
That's a good idea. So, do you know what you did this time? Because
No.
when I do it, I can't really say either. I'll have to think about it. For now, we could try anything else. I'm not sure what to do. But my name's Richard, by the way. What's your name?
Lorena.
Yes, you met Richard. Not one of your first thoughts, but you guys definitely will go on to kind of, if anything, try to escape. You'll be punished. You meet up again. You continue. You guys are able to break the spell consistently and meet up and kind of form a secret order. If you want to have any extra say in how any of that goes down, feel free to throw it in there. Basically, as Richard says, we can act against the interests of this organization, the headmistress, the archwizard, and sabotage the rituals if we can't escape fully, because as you guys have tried you can run away, but you're gonna get found because the spells you can't break it forever is the main issue you've been running into. So you can like run away for like a couple hours, but then you just walk.
I think the way that we kind of figured out to get out of the mindset is with hypnosis or a meditation phrase that you have to get in the right mindset and say to be able to get clear.
Do you have any extra advice for me, Laura, about meditation?
Focus all of your consciousness on the will of the way. It differs from that of the priestess.
Right, of course. Try this. Another thing I've tried is to hold on to any primal urges you've found, even if you need to use the water closet, prolong it. I'm not sure if that helps, but the urgency, you repress it, but it helps me break the mindset, perhaps. I'm not sure. Do you have any other advice?
I'll give it a try.
Another thing I've tried seems helpful is spicy foods. I'm not sure if it will work for you. It seems to just jolt my brain a little bit.
I've never been able to afford spicy food.
Bring me some. There's a merchant in town who sells peppers.
Perhaps we could meet there.
We could go there now.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys definitely go see the merchant. You do try spicy peppers, you try these other methods. Doesn't seem to necessarily work for you. And you're not so sure any of that works for him because he is just as good as he's always been. You guys have like a couple hours of schemes. If you want to go on any specific sabotage missions, we can. But that's the basic plot of that. Anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that's pretty good.
Okay, well, so the rest of this is actually kind of just a recap. So I will tell you what happens and what happened. So, you guys, you do have some success in interrupting some small rituals and plots prolonging things. You do get punished several times, but you guys are mostly okay. Only a couple punishments, really. Nothing major. Your plots are prevailingly undiscovered. There are many plans and adventures that can be had during this age that we brief over. And this lasts about 10 years until the year about 1240 AL, which is when really campaign 1 kind of began, and you set off. So you know that men are destined to age and die. Unlike you, you're gonna basically look this way forever. You've reached kind of your adult appearance, another age. So yeah, actually the 10 years have passed. So actually your brain is actually considered fully developed as an adult as well. So you're like an adult, you're like 40. So you can reason that you're also born during the millennia, the year 1200. So yeah, it's 1240 essentially now, and this is going to go into the recap now. Not really a part of what you're remembering in your dream today. This just comes back to you as you kind of awaken from your nightly sleep of meditation, and you remember your recent activities, and all of this kind of becomes clear, and your memory becomes intact, as it were. ties everything together. So yeah, after about those 10 years as an inside double agent, you've seen a lot of dark rituals and a lot of failed plots, as I said. Um, you were not punished, pretty much, that is, until it was becoming your specialty to disappear people. You didn't do it too much, but when you're under the influence of the mind control spell, you couldn't stop yourself. And things started to pick up one day, and you were able to disobey at a heightened level. But eventually, you were overpowered, hit on the head, you lost your memory. You were, of course, demoted from a priestess who served only the high priestess. And you've been manipulated by emotion and power. Eventually, you're taken back to the Sixth Ward, the Sixth Ward Church, to a secret area, quarantined, observed as an ex-rogue. This is where you couldn't remember anything in the past for the first time. And now it all makes more sense to you. But after you were treated like a test subject without any rights, eventually, after some time of this, you were given back the status of a regular acolyte and your mind control reinstated. But you were not a priestess, of course, anymore, which was the higher rank you achieved over many years. Eventually, you managed to break the spell again, though, and just escape, which was actually not too hard for you at this point. Your body seemed to know what it was doing, although you had no memory of fighting the spell. You ran away from the Sixth Church of the Word. You took a room at a small inn, which is now abandoned. The innkeeper's brother came one day with a grand story, and the two men departed in the early morning, leaving a note for Lorena to bring hired men to catch up and meet them at a secret location in the Pine Grove. You set out on this quest. You hired a furbolg, a large red-haired giant of a man, and a wizard, a pale noble from the distant human town of Farleon, the kingdom. Coincidentally, he appeared from a portal into the underworld in the Sixth Church of the Word after a quest through hell his brother sent him on, but it's neither here nor there. You hired these men who were both in desperate straits. The furbolg had been banished from his tribe in the Faithlands, but his strength was a great aid. You departed to the Pear Wood, and you coaxed a giant frog to let you ride it to a tower on an island in the lake. It was a bit of a side quest. It was an interesting location. You killed a giant skeleton monitor and a necromancer there as a party. Returning to the Lost Path on land, you met Kor, the Knight of the Word, who rewarded you and sent you a letter soon afterwards asking to meet at the lake again for more similar work. You went along the pine path, however, and the burning wood, and there was a cart destroyed in the road and a broken tree. After a moment, you were ambushed by a giant of a nasty troll. It grabbed the prince wizard and you pursued, eventually toppling the troll into its own fire and freeing Corin, the innkeep, from bondage there, who cried for his brother having been cooked and eaten by the troll. You go, nevertheless, to the inn at the riverside in the secret village, and Corin promises to tell you of his secret plans in the morning. He was looking for a map that you stole from his pocket as he was, but never got the chance to explain his plans, since you were all drugged by the innkeep and taken to the nearby city of Ozar in the empire of Errigold and sold into slavery. And you, Lorena, were sold into indentured servitude in a wealthy house, but the other humans in Furbolg were sold into hard labor. So eventually you escaped and helped the others escape, although the human wizard was badly tortured downstairs for his disobedience. You eventually fight the guard and run off into the night, escaping into the woods. When you get back at the inn, finally, at the riverside, you defeat that wicked innkeeper Thoranius. He's revealed as a wizard who tries to defend himself with the enchanted Monitor skull you sold him. But he's got a good price, but he stole the money back, sold you guys. You guys defeated him handily, and he was imprisoned by the decrepit mayor of this elven town. Strange, like Wood Elven town. You celebrate your freedom with Leo and Darian, and then the human goes on his way. Kor brings more freed men from Ozar, apparently from a recent mission, and you accompany the knights and one of the freed slaves, a human wizard named Rasden. You depart on a quest into the goblin tunnel to the south, deep in the woods, and save some of the knights who were captured. You save Abraham, the commander, and Tredicor, the monk. You see the field of spines after much travel this strange desert of spiked needle mountains. You find your way back into the tunnels, into a dark ritual chamber where you struggle against the dark flame, but succumb to the darkness and near death. Somehow, after much struggle and dreams, you awaken to an elven healer. Tells you that an herb saved you from a young monk. You had near deathly burns, but you awaken and you must flee the village, for it's being raided by dark elves from Errigold, with their distinctive and elegant armor piercing as silhouettes behind the flames of the village and some strange circus. You don't know why, but you flee with the Knights of the Word into the mountains. Your cart is bound up by some tree roots that are growing, and so you continue on foot. It's a long journey through the burning wood. You've also gotten separated from Abraham and half of the knights along the way, and one of the freed men was impaled by a monster in the woods. You guys held a funeral, but eventually you made it safely to Jordan town. And that isn't even the full recap. You'll have a short adventure with Tredicor, hopefully, next time. And you'll both hear the rest of the recap and start a new brief adventure. And then another player hopefully will join us. So, yeah, let me know what you think.
It's over?
Yeah, it's over. Any thoughts?
Hope
That was the prologue.
Tredicor's ready.
We hope Tredicor's ready.
He hasn't dealt with this ass for a long time.
True. It's true. We've done Tredicor's prologue.
I go on an adventure with him. I'm like, we're going to do this thing. And he's like, okay, I'll help you.
I'll do that. I do it. Awesome.
He's good.
Well, heck yeah, I'll go ahead and stop this recording. But yeah, thanks guys. Tune in next week, of course, for more of the Errigoldian War.